Hi everyone, welcome back for this lesson 2 of module 1. Firstly, we're going to after we have learned about how to open the Microsoft Excel, uh, you can open one now, a blank workbook, all right, and we can make use of this place, all right. So you can actually select. These are all what we call cells. Okay, so we have the cells, we have the rows, and we have the column. So you can select each row by selecting the numbers at the left hand side, or the columns by selecting the alphabets at the top side. All right, of course you could also select the individual cells. Okay, so we could enter any form of data inside each of these cells. Okay, so for example, I am just going to put some random data here. Okay, now after you have input your data, all right, there are a few ways to to make sure that the data stays. Okay, one way is to press enter. So you notice that the highlighted portion, it goes down, all right, because well, we are going down to the next row. Okay, and then we can create another set of data entry. Okay, another data entry, and you can also, instead of pressing enter, you could also use the down arrow, or if you notice on top, this is what we call the formula bar. You can also press the tick one. Okay, you can actually select tick, and then when you select tick, it does not go to this next row, but it maintains that. However, even if you select somewhere else, whatever you have typed will still remain there. Okay, if I click another, I entered another set of data, I could, instead of using any of that, I could also press the tab on your keyboard. If I do so, I would actually go to the next column. Okay, if I click again and I click shift this time, you will notice shift enter, sorry. If you click shift enter, you instead go upwards. Okay, so these are all the various ways to uh, to edit, I mean to enter the data you want into the Microsoft Excel. Now, if I reselect the one of the previously entered data, and then I click something else, notice previously it was all alphabet, but now it's a number. Okay, it will actually replace whatever data I have entered. Of course, if you realize that this was a mistake, uh, if you have yet to press enter or anything else, you could press escape and it will return back to the original one. But what if you have already pressed entered and the data has been registered? Okay, you could also click undo. Okay, undo is usually at the top left side. All right, so you can click undo and it will go back to the original value. Alternatively, you could also press Control Z. All right, Control Z is the shortcut for the undo button. Okay, but what if you have just made a minor mistake? Maybe you want to include a number in between. So there are a few ways. One, we could make use of what we call the formula bar. So let's say I want to add numbers in between here, and I may do so, and I just press enter. Okay, alternatively, you could also hover your mouse, your cursor over the cell that you want to edit, double click it, and then you will be able to see uh, that we are already in the data at there. You could use the arrow key to go to the position that you want to, and then you can type or edit the values as necessary. Okay, so of course we could also just simply use the data, the formula bar to type our to enter our data, and we could also actually delete everything. So one way you could highlight everything and just simply press delete. That is one. You could also hover it and press backspace, of course, where if you do backspace, you will have to key the new data, or you simply press enter. Okay. Another way is that if you look at the home tab in the cells group, okay, you will notice that there's this delete button. You could also use delete cells. Okay, and you can select any one of it. We will go through this in further detail on another lesson. Okay, so once we have entered all the data that we want, we will want to save our work. Otherwise, it will all be just a waste, right? So there are a few ways to do so. Number one is you can click save. Okay, and then you can select the location you want, and of course the name that you want to give this file. Okay, so for example, let me put it in the, you can, if you're not sure where you want to go, you could also click more location, and you go to that. For example, I want to put it on the desktop, then I could save it here. Okay, alternatively, you could also go to file, save as. All right, if you just simply click save, it will just save whatever, based on whatever book name that you have given it already. But if you want to create a new file, okay, you could use save as. So it depends whether you want to keep the original version and create a new version and keep them separate. If you want to do so, you should use save as. But if you just want to overwrite whatever you have done previously, you could just use save. Okay, so we could use save as. All right, you could also select in the save as, you could also select the many different file types. So one of the commonly used one is the Excel workbook XLSX. This is based on the newer version. There's also, you could also save it as the older version, which is based on the Excel 97 to 2003. Okay, notice the difference is that the newer version have an additional X behind, whereas the old one does not. Okay, we will go through the other forms of formats on another lesson. So we will just stick to this one for now. Okay, and you could also check its compatibility inside info. So you see, we go to the file and we go to info, and then you could also check and inspect all this. Okay, so we'll go through this in further detail on another day as well.